We do not have gods that can take, every god is asked, what do you want? A human being, a goat, a cow. And if you refuse to accept one of them, the Igbos will pass judgment on their gods. So we are a very intriguing and interesting people. During the era of slave trade, the Igbos were taken to the United States, and many people who bought Igbo slaves, especially in the Chesapeake Bay, were very, very excited about them because the Igbos were very good at farming yam. And you know, to have a yam farm, you have to be really very skilled. You have to go through planting the yam, doing with the tendrils, making sure weeding it, and then eventually patiently digging until you bring out the full yam. So that skill was very good in tobacco planting. Most of the people in the Virginia axis down to Georgia who had land plantations liked Igbo slaves. But there was a problem with Igbo slaves. They were found to be very hard-headed, almost treacherous, resistant to authority. Despite many years of trying to break them in, so many of the foreign people wrote, we don't want slaves from the Calabar ports anymore because they are always the ones who want to escape. Story had it that a group of Igbo slaves arriving in the United States, looking at them tied up in their chains, and then they started talking amongst themselves. After talking for about, say, an hour at Jamestown, they all ran into the sea and got drowned. They refused to be slaves. They refused to submit to authority. That is Igbo behavior that you can get. So the values that Igbos have brought into the Nigerian society today is a value that in the colonial Nigeria, the community, the Igbo communities were able to send their children to schools abroad. They were able to come together and send one of theirs to go abroad and get the golden fleece. Zeke was able to go to America and come back and send 8 other Igbos abroad to come back before he could find people to talk about independence with. This is many years that Yorubas have been lawyers, doctors, and all the professions. And before you knew it, within 40 years, Igbos had overcome that disability. They had become the commanding heights of Nigerian public service in the professions and in business. So the Igbos have shown tremendous energy in driving in one direction. But what is the key word about that? The Igbos tend to occur well and work well when they work in communities. There is no Obara Wenuwaisi in Igbo culture. There is no Queen Amina of Zaria. There is no King Idris Aloma. There are no great men in Igbo stories. You hear of our slave traders and you don't hear of names. You hear of the agriculture, but you don't hear of names. There are no great kings in Igbo culture. There are no great empires because Igbos work in an atomistic community. We work well when you join your age grade and when you do what the community demands of you. So we tend to go with the average, which is sometimes our strength and sometimes our weakness. So we have proverbs that say things like, no phone is here, saying that the individual, though important, cannot determine the kind of history. We also say things like, because we are an anti-heroic culture. Okonkwo comes back from exile and decides to find the white man. And what does he get? The village people stood apart and watched him. When he saw nobody was following him, he committed suicide. What of Ezolo in the arrow of God? Ezolo was such a great man who believed in his community, refused to accept the white chief that was given to him by the white man. But what did he do? When he came back from prison, his community was watching. One of them came to him in famous Achabian language, said, my eyes reached to Mary, but my legs did not reach. I could not come. Sorry that I couldn't make it. And Ezolo looked at them and smiled. I knew that one day he would have his prize on them. But what happened to Ezolo? His best friend told him, a man must dance the dance prevailing in his own time. No one man can win judgment against his kindred. So it's a very strongly anti-heroic culture. That is why we still haven't been able to find our own Awolowo. That is why we can't have our own Ahmadu. That is why we seem to have the problems that we are talking about today. Where does the Igbos want to go to? So for me, I think that what we need to do going forward will be to play to our strengths and not to fight our basic instincts, our DNA. We don't need to fight it. We need to see how we can come together. Last 2 weeks, I was at an event of Government College Umuahia, where we have come together to form an NGO, and they have taken over the Government College Umuahia, and they now want to begin to run the school. It was interesting to note that the top 30 secondary schools in Nigeria, none was in the southeast of Nigeria. And the government college Umuahia Fields, led by K. Dalama, this kind of sovereign wealth fund, they are thinking of taking over the school and making it work. And when I looked at them, I said, this may yet well be a way for Igbos to go, to come back to community, to come back to being able to come together and push in one direction. Since we can't seem to coalesce around individuals, but we seem to coalesce around ideas. So our cultural reorientation, our value reorientation is to know that fundamentally our republican nature, our cephalous nature, that theory that says Igwe Weze, can be an albatross when you play proximity politics, but it can be a strength in a truly modern and united and progressive country. It can become the defining ethos of a people who teaches a country how to re-engage with itself, how to bear with itself, and how to move away from proximity politics, from prebendal politics, from the corruption-enabled politics of sharing, to a new platform of community engagement, civic responsibility, and engagement. So I think that Igbos need not be shy about their background. We need not be apologetic about who we are. We only need to strengthen who we are. We only need to strengthen what we are as a collective. And remember that what we have is something that is akin to the modern Protestant ethic, to that Protestant ethic that led to the growth of Europe and can possibly lead to the re-energizing of the Nigerian state. So on a final note, I think that Ola Igbo is also one of those things that represents our finest instincts. It represents a platform. Looking at the people that have gathered here today, we can see that Ejikotas is on Owogu. You can break one stick. But Ejikoti on Mama Junior, that has been an Igbo worldview. The Igbos believe too much in bringing together the bunch. And in bunching together with Ola Igbo, I believe very firmly that the values that we will espouse from this room, the enormous energy that I can see coming out from this Ola Igbo, can yet be another opportunity, another defining principle in emerging Nigeria and in our value orientation. So for me, as Osita Chinoga, as Ikobosi, and a man grounded in my culture, who like Mwaka have taken the 4 titles in Ogosi, I am interested in seeing that Igbo values, Igbo culture, Igbo aspiration is anchored on building a modern Nigerian state where proximity politics, where prebendal politics will not be the defining ethos, but the Igbo view that the best and the brightest should always be brought forward to define Nigeria. Thank you very much.
That was a great intro there from Chief Osita Chinoga. Thank you very much for that. If I had to paraphrase what we've just heard, it would be